There's still plenty of ISIS to be defeated. I know that it's been a significant milestone in the campaign to defeat ISIS in Mosul, the largest city that they've ever held, while equally at the same time fighting ISIS in their de facto capital in Raqqa. But we're very clear in understanding and knowing that even after the defeat of ISIS in Mosul and the imminent defeat in Raqqa, there still will be pockets and there still will be strongholds left to defeat ISIS. And in particular in Iraq, there is Tal Afar, which is just west of Mosul. You also have Hawija, which is south of Kirkuk. And then you have a western Anbar province, specifically in a town in and around Al-Qaim. And in Syria, after Raqqa, there are several ISIS strongholds that remain along the Euphrates River Valley. And some of those places are Deir ez-Zor, Mayadeen, and Abu Kamal, just to name a few. Well, we are also very understand that ISIS is not going to just go away, and although they will militarily be defeated and they will no longer hold some of the territory that we've seen them have since 2014, we do expect and have seen already a transition to an insurgent type activity. And so we understand and we are believe that threat will persist and will still be around. So what we are doing now to address that is by training Iraqi security forces, in particular police, border guard forces, counterterrorism service forces, so that they can address that threat after the military defeat of ISIS. I would say as long as right now with the Syrian regime as an example, we know that they are backed by the Russians and Iranian militias. As long as we can deconflict and keep away from one another and make sure that we can operate safely in our mission to defeat ISIS, I would not call them an enemy. I certainly would not call them a partner. And we'll just leave it at that. That is how this fight is in Syria. It's congested, it's complex. We as a coalition, our enemy is ISIS, and that is what we're going after. And anything that can distract us from that particular goal and that mission of defeating ISIS, is a challenge and is something that we have to keep an eye on. We would not characterize as the Combined Joint Task Force them as an enemy, but we are always mindful of all the different actors that are operating in the region, and we're going to make sure that our forces, all coalition forces, and our partner forces are able to safely conduct operations to defeat ISIS. Well, in Syria specifically, the Syrian Democratic Forces have proven over the last 2 years that they are a very capable force for defeating ISIS. And really in that northern Syria region, they have really been the only force that has demonstrated the ability and the capability to do just that. And that's exactly what they're doing right now in Raqqa. The de facto capital of ISIS, the Syrian Democratic Forces, today is day 46 of those operations, have continued to press into the city. We've got about 30% of the city that has been cleared of ISIS, and the Syrian Democratic Forces are continuing to fight them there. The two axes of advance on the east side and west side have tightened, and those forces from the Syrian Democratic Forces are within 2 kilometers, less than 2 kilometers from one another in the city.
Ahead of this major offensive, the U.S. approved arms supplies to its Kurdish allies. Washington's reportedly about to send mortars, machine guns and small arms, as well as armored vehicles. However, that didn't go down well with Turkey, which considers the Kurds as terrorists.
They received equipment in the form of vehicles, small arms weapons, mortars, and weapons to defeat the threat of the vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices, these car bombs that have been used in both Mosul and we've already seen used in Raqqa. And then we've also provided them, I think I already said, ammunition. So those are the types of weapons that we have provided to both the Arab and the Kurdish elements of the Syrian Democratic Forces. I do think that was the right decision, and I'll tell you why. Number one, would I, as a soldier, as a commander, expect my soldiers to fight against an enemy with weapons that were not capable of destroying the threats that we were going to see? That would not be acceptable to me. And so, being able to provide our partner forces with the right equipment to defeat the threats that we know that they're going to face, that we have seen that they have already faced, I think is the right decision. We clearly understand the concerns from our NATO ally Turkey, and we have been open and transparent with providing them the types of weapons, the serial numbers of each weapon, and we have our forces that are with these partner forces to make sure that they are used for the purposes in which we gave it to them. And when you're fighting an enemy like ISIS, as I've stated before, the Syrian Democratic Forces and the Arab contingent of the Syrian Democratic Forces, who is doing the bulk, and that is the majority of the force that is fighting in Raqqa, they have definitely shown that they are capable of fighting and defeating ISIS. And so as a soldier, as a former commander who's been on the ground, those things tend to go away, the political things, when we're talking about defeating a common enemy, and an enemy that is not just a threat to Syria and Iraq and to the region, but to the rest of the world. Well, I would say we are partnered with them because of they want their homelands back. They want their families and their region to be free of ISIS. So we're working together for a common goal. We, as the United States and as a coalition, and the 73 different partners that make up the coalition, all want to see ISIS gone. And I think the common thread there is that so do the Kurdish elements of the Syrian Democratic Forces and the Arab elements of the SDF, the Syrian Democratic Forces. We all want to see ISIS gone. And we're doing that right now. We're very successful at doing just that. So what happens in the future, what happens after Raqqa, what happens after ISIS is defeated and along the middle Euphrates River Valley, that is not going to happen in the next couple of weeks. That is not going to happen overnight. This is something that's going to take time, and we will have to assess and see where we are and when that happens to identify what happens next with our alliance and with our partnership with the Syrian Democratic Forces. But our mission is very clear, and that is to defeat ISIS. We have seen it in both Iraq with Ramadi, Tikrit, Fallujah, Mosul. We've seen it in Syria with the defeat in Manbij, Idlib, Dabiq, Tabqa.
Syria's largest dam in the city of Tabqa has been liberated from ISIL control by Syrian Democratic Forces. Those forces are comprised mainly of US-backed Kurds. The victory paves the way for an advance on the Islamic State stronghold of Raqqa. The city is just 40 kilometers away.
We're all moving in the right direction. More than 117,000 square kilometers have been freed of ISIS throughout the region, and we will continue to move in that direction to where we are successful in our mission to defeat ISIS militarily in Iraq and Syria. Anything else, Stefan? Okay. Und woher kommen Sie?